Hi, my La Familia. My name is Trey's Myth, and this is Trey's Myths and Tombs. Today, my talk is called Gnosis and the Three Brains. But first, I gotta give a big shout out to the Orion Group and the Anunnaki and the United States agencies and the employees of Lockheed Martin who augmented and engineered whatever rain was going to be here today into another day of the brilliantly retarded atmospheric river. I would while away the hours laughing on the highest grade of flowers, and my heart would not be so full of pain. I would dance and be merry, life would be like an organic coffee cherry when I fully awaken my three brains. Gnosis and the Three Brains. This goes to a partially an idea, interestingly enough, from a rather physically attractive metaphysical healer once in one of the many brilliant YouTube videos I watched, made the claim that your physical body is your subconscious mind. Now chew on that for a second. So this whole video, I think you're going to really enjoy this video because it's really a wonderful new finding that can be healing or helpful for anyone, but particularly those of you who didn't take the mad scientist international experiment that are ready to reclaim your three brains. So the idea came from recent scientific studies where they found neurons in your brain, in your heart, and in your solar plexus or your gut. Okay, so have you ever heard the saying, my gut instinct told me something, or I had a hunch, a nudge, I couldn't stomach it? Well, these are sayings that are related to this idea that a feeling in your gut can teach you or bring you to a animal or intuitive gnosis or wisdom, inner wisdom. So the scientists recently in the last several years, I believe it was 5 years ago, they discovered brain cells or neurons in the heart when it's functioning healthy, and this is the key, the healthy functioning gut. Most people in America, I learned when I developed my chronic blood disease and skin problems at age 19. Interestingly enough, when I became a vegetarian, perhaps I was losing some nutrients there, but it wasn't quite until I started drinking down the stolen chicken placenta at age 37 that I really began to get a grip on the illness. So as I felt like, well, I couldn't make it to the hot springs. This county, it's hundreds of miles away. So anyway, so excuse me. Didn't get all the didn't get everything out from the session. So when your gut is properly functioning, you get your gut instinct properly functioning. And it also, of course, ties into your belief and dogma. If you need the priest, if you need the government, if you need your mommy or your dad or your best friend in the gang to approve, then, of course, that's going to mess it up. as I've said many times, the path of the Gnostic is always, or the shaman or the yogi, which to me are the only some of the few true traditions to the Most High. Like it's always on a path within, right? So it turns out I've learned the hard way and the fun way. Your number one brain needs cholesterol. So I drink eggs, raw dairy, omega-3s to function. I would say if you don't believe me, check Dr. David Perlmutter's book, Grain Brain. He has plenty of statistical facts on why your brain actually needs healthy cholesterol, which is not what you're going to get from a steak, but the pescatarian. You might say I'm a mix between the pescatarian and the keto with more taters for breakfast, because I agree with Dr. Ted Gundry on that one point. Your instinct needs potatoes, and that's another point I got on my notes here. It's another word for it. It's called prebiotics. It's found in coconut fiber, potatoes, and onions. So I often chop off the end of the onion and eat that while I'm making my taters in the morning. If you eat fast food, it leads to or hydrogenated oils or a lot of sugars, carbohydrates, fats. Most of us have had this thing called leaky gut syndrome, okay? And this is exactly what the negative aliens, they wanted to hybridize us to make us more like them, eventually to make us sterile, infertile, obedient, because it fills you with parasites, okay? The leaky gut makes it so that the candidus, the worms, most food, unless you sterilize it or cook it fully properly, you know, if you eat a lot of raw food, you have a lot of parasites. But see, I culture my eggs and raw milk with probiotics so that it kills the evil biotics. So that's the key. If you know how to ferment or use probiotic cultures, it's another key. So the reason why I think everyone's going to enjoy this is because this is a subject, this is something I've mastered in my self-healing process, and I'm happy to share. It's also common knowledge. So, yeah, heavy meat, it causes putrefaction. GMOs are going to cause you all kinds of health problems because the ingestion of GMOs, it certainly can easily make all the illnesses I have grow rapidly, all of them. So, whereas the abstinence of the more discipline I have, it's the opposite of my mother told me. This MD invented this mental illness where you're obsessive about, no, you can't, I disagree with this completely. You can't be too particular. Yeah, it can. My mother's a Libra. She felt it could mess her social life up to be too picky. But yeah, I mean, it can make it challenging. But, you know, if you've been into meditation as long as me, you learn. You know, when I was 19 and I became a vegetarian or lacto-ovo, you know, you want to chastise people for a while. But when you get older in your 30s and 40s, after a decade or two of eating ital and respectfully, you learn you never ever tell people how to eat unless they ask you. Okay, and this video is for all of you who want to learn. Okay, how to heal mental or physical illness with food. Or rather, let's say, for a disclaimer, because I'm not an MD, I'm not prescribing anything, but how to use food or herbs to help. Cannabis, again, it can easily lead to a surrogate or a feeling like you need to rely on that because it can make 90 to 100% of all the illnesses temporarily relieve them or get rid of them for 3 hours. So then you get dependence. But it does actually cause the cancers in my belly to be inoperative or not to be able to. It causes them to not be able to mess up my digestion. So when I take enough CBD, or I love these cinnamon 1-to-1 sweetened with xylitol by Kiva. I should get a. If I was popular, I'd get them to sponsor this. because it's sweetened with xylitol. It doesn't ruin me, and it actually keeps me regular. So that, again, it's because when you have any amounts of cancer in your bowels or gut, what it does is it eats up your natural digestive enzymes. You can also take massive amounts of digestive enzymes. However, what they don't want me to say, again, it's really obvious common knowledge, is that if you don't eat sugar and GMOs and you don't eat poisonous things, then it has nothing to feed on. And also your thoughts. You have to be very clear in your thoughts. So eating GMOs, meat, heavy amounts of meat, hydrogenated oils, sugar, blocks the communication of your gut brain and with gnosis and your heart and gut from communicating with you properly. Whereas knowing how to feed it with organic food, prebiotics, onion, potatoes, probiotics, cultures, it feeds the gut brain orchestration, growing brain cells in your gut, literally neurons. It literally grows the neurons in your belly. And then you'll be able to feel your intuition more. I'm not tripping. I'm not exaggerating. It's the fact. I've experienced this. The more I get in tune with eating what my body needs, when I try to, I'll sweeten with xylitol or stevia, sweeten with something that doesn't, or erythritol or something that doesn't harm my system. And then I have the delicious ketogenic, sometimes not ketogenic, Ital diet that rarely do I ingest foods that increase my parasites, because I'm getting to the point where I'm at the end of it and I have to eventually do a cleanse pretty soon and completely purge it all out of my body. And since I've been organic and Ital for 20 years, it helps. But I'm just saying that don't jump into it. I tried jumping into it when I was 19. I did a 3-day fast. You can do yourself harm, because when I got off the fast, remember I ate a whole bag of organic corn chips, 16 ounce, binge. So you have to. I don't even. I'm not even certain that fasting is that fully healthy if you have the discipline. I mean, it can be, but I'm just saying you're starving your body. So it all depends on how much sugars and how much poisonous substance and horribly unhealthy fats. Most people eat fats that are horribly unhealthy. 90 some odd percent of humans eat fats these days, unless they know about fats. You want healthy saturated fats and healthy omega-3 fats. Your coconut oil, even butter, I don't know, because it's pasteurized. So all pasteurized dairy can be very harmful, cause inflammation, and you want to stay away from it if you want to heal your gut. And in order to heal leaky gut syndrome, you really might need to take some wormwood, some cleanses, or some heavy metal cleanses. I need to do more of the mercury filling still. You take bladderwrack, cilantro, and several different types of seaweed work to help get your body to get that out of your body. I've suffered from irritable bowel syndrome most of my life, and it really has everything to do with stress. The chemicals these evil ones dump in the atmosphere can really, I think, if you have internal cancers or IBS, it can literally make it so that my bowels don't work, particularly if it's cold and I'm in a place where there's heavily chemical contamination of any sort, but particularly the ones they've done to intentionally dumb us down and make us sick can actually prevent my bowels from working. Whereas even in this tent with a little candle, I'll put my hand over the candle like this. Sometimes it helps a lot. Of course, cannabis and CBD really help with all the functions. And again, you have to have a healthy relationship with them. Your heart, brain, we have the 2D, 4D split, which I mentioned before. But, and you can heal that through your higher heart, as it's called. And, of course, omega-3s help tremendous with all your brains.